Arjoun. Um, my previous employer considered you one of the superstars in their portfolio. So if you can give us a little bit about Tenderd, how you decided to enter the Saudi market, what are the elements or key factors you thought of it, these essential for me to enter the Saudi market?
Perfect. So the previous employer is Wide Ventures, which is Saudi Aramco's venture arm to promote entrepreneurship in Saudi Arabia. We are very lucky to have them on our cap table and support our growth. So I'm going to echo a lot of what Mu'taz and John said about how we pick markets from a strategic perspective and a tactical perspective. From a strategic perspective, you want a growing market. It doesn't have to be large already, but you want it to be growing. So there's a saying that I always use with my team, which is rising tides lift all boats. And when we entered the Saudi market, which was back in 2019, December 2019, we started seeing a lot of change in Saudi Arabia, and we realized that this change is going to continue for the next 5, 10, 20 years. So our goal was to make sure we enter the market in 2019 and grow with Saudi Arabia. So unlike John's company and Mu'taz's company, we are only in 3 markets. So we are in Nigeria, UAE, and Saudi. We have a footprint in San Francisco, but we're not operational there. Each of these 3 markets, when we entered them, we looked at, is this a growing market? Is this something where we can enter early or at this stage and add value to the ecosystem? But we also have to consider the tactical issues. Does the government provide licenses to businesses like a startup to operate? Is it a safe market? So we work with energy companies, construction companies. We get a lot of demand in, let's say, CIS markets. And some of those markets are a lot more attractive for us, depending on safety in the country. So that when we send our team or our employees there, we want them to be having a good quality of life. Is it possible to have a wholly owned subsidiary by a foreign entity? This is another requirement for us. Our corporate governance prevents us from having partial ownership of a subsidiary. And for visas for our employees, visas for our team, is it possible to issue visas fairly quickly? So these are some of the tactical things we consider when we enter a market. But the most important thing from a strategic perspective is it a growing market and can we add value? And that's what we look at, is the most key element for us. One thing I also want to add that is maybe unique to a B2B business is we look at what is the exposure of MNCs or multinational companies operating in that market. Because multinational companies who have, let's say, a global footprint, I'll pick an example. Let's pick Saudi Aramco. Saudi Aramco has multiple different projects in many different countries, or DP World, multiple different projects, multiple different locations in many countries. So having MNC exposure in some of these foreign markets are really important when we decide to enter them, because those are usually the kind of companies we work with first, and they provide us our soft landing when it comes to sales.
It's like basically building a journey for you within the country.
Right.
That's great. Thomas, so Altea is a French company. As you mentioned, you entered the Saudi market in 2018. What made you come to Saudi? What are the key factors, which also I ask your colleagues about it, as you're one of the C-suite in Altea. What was the decision, the rational decision behind it, and how did it turn out for you?
Yes, so actually the first reason we came to Saudi in the first place was thanks to Aramco and Mohan that we met on Davos a few years back, and that became very interested in our product. So we came here, we made some proof of concept for them, and they loved it. So they decided to invest, and in return we opened a subsidiary here. But basically it was a very easy decision for us because we look at 2 things: business opportunity and we assess the risk. If we take the big picture, Saudi Arabia has great growth. As you said, the growth is great. The ambition through Vision 2030 are clearly established and in line with what we believe is a sane development and a strong development. And there is also the political stability that was here. And then we go down in terms of scale, and we address actors that have been here for decades that are very strong in what they do. We address oil and gas, we address TNU, agriculture, and so we knew that they were going through an important digitization of their productivity assets, and we knew that we had a product that would fit this digitization process they were going through. So when we combine all that, for us, Saudi Arabia was the place to be in the Middle East, and that's how it came to be.
Great. I will go back to John. You mentioned you're operating in different countries. How can founders build relationship and a trust with potential customers and partners, whether in Saudi and other markets? And how was your experience in the Saudi market?
I think the best way to build a trust is making sure that you're executing the promise that you make. For us, because we're a B2B company, solution company, it's extremely hard to initiate the before and after of the solution unless we start a POC with them. So we start off with, most of the times, the most important part when entering a new country is actually the first property. Because once the first property uses a solution, H2O solution, our product becomes a tangible product. You can actually see the before and after of how the operation changes, how P&L changes. So we tell them that we will do this. And then once that happens, I think that is a key, a turning point in terms of building the trust between like the new partners entering new market. For Saudi market, we're currently working with Sira Group to connect the inventory to bring in the Asian tourists. So once that happens, we will have to discuss with STA in terms of the strategy for the trigger point, like for example, contents. What type of contents that we will send it out to Asia to bring in Asian tourists. But that's the key aspect that we're focused right now. How are we going to bring these Asian tourists, not only bring them, but also retain them? Because retention is also really important.
Yes.
KPI for the tourism industry. So those are the key aspects that we're focusing. Hopefully, we can we can be the company that actually achieve what we promised.
Great. Is there any certain tweaks or repositioning of the product needed for? I'm talking about your product in particular for the Saudi market.
So in terms of the product, we have 6 different modules, but one of the modules is called Smart Check-in System. So some countries that we are expanded do not require front desk to check the physical ID.
Yeah.
But for Saudi, you have the Smart ID for the locals, but for the inbound tourists, they would still have to go to the front desk. So we are changing the flow of the solution to customize for appropriate process in Saudi Arabia right now.
I see. Okay. Mu'taz?
Well, first of all, no doubt Saudi market is the biggest one within the region. And the good thing about Saudi, there is a North Star for the market, which is the Vision 2030. It encapsulates everything for whoever interested about the Saudi market. It tells you how it looks today and how is it going to be in the future. And whoever has been living that 2030 experience, he can see there is a walk for the talk, number one. Number two, and you can see what was impossible becomes possible. Also, there is a closer and common ground between the private sector and public sector. So the people in the public sector, they understand and they they can realize the challenges of the private sector, as well as the private sector can understand that if I want a regulation to be, facilitated or whatever, it's kind of a collaboration concept. So if we reflect that, I talk about the macro aspects, but if you reflect that into the micro side, then it's your homework as a company to approach the companies and to point out who are the biggest, players in such sector. There are some companies, they are opening their arms for you, and there are companies that open their arm for you, but they have certain criteria to qualify you. So the question is about the readiness of the company to unlock all of that, and to understand, how to access the market in the way that becomes suitable for Saudi Arabia in this example. Now, I want to go further in my thought. Once you unlock the business, then you are in front of huge size you need to manage, and you need to meet the expectation of the business that you're coming through. There are some companies which I like, and the trucker experience that we have been through, that they handhold you to make you successful. Okay, so choosing the right partner is another thing. So you can't go with someone and then you complain. If you don't study your client and you don't understand, there is a challenge for you. To grow into that client. The second thing, also from my perspective about KYC for your client, is an important thing. So you cannot go and you say, okay, I will explore it tomorrow. No. If you want, as you are working in any other market in the world, okay, you need to know the Saudi market has certain regulations, certain requirements. If you know what you want to do and what he's going to do, on the other side, the client, then for sure you're going to have a smoother journey. Now, the third element is the growth side of it, that no doubt if you come with a clear mindset that you want to grow within this company, you need to know what are the pains, and you need to make your better service offering. For us as logistics, we offer a service of, point to point. So how can I convince my client that my service is better, and how I'll become more reliable in a growth, or to do the business in the right way? For example, many of my clients, when we approach them, and I have one of my colleagues here, that they ask what you can provide better than the others. The answer is very simple to them. Okay, one, I want to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Try me. If you don't like me, okay, you can try someone else, and you're going to see how is the difference of tracker service comparing with the others. So we don't come to say and to make like we exaggerate our statement in a way we fail to deliver. Okay, though inside you can do much better, but it's also the expectation of the client. This is an important thing for you. It's not what you expect about yourself, it's what you expect is like an access point for you. The feedback and the perception that you get from your client is the other important thing. So for us as a tracker, we were able to reach almost to more than 1,000 clients, and we're still hungry for more as well.
Amazing.